Hello and welcome to this project we've been working on, which we're calling our December daily or December memory keeping. I just need to insert this at the beginning of this video, and that as in my last video, I incorrectly put two 13s in my dating system. One of my wonderful viewers caught it and pointed it out, and I was able to correct it. But throughout this video, it's still incorrect. So it is corrected now. We are on track. So keep an eye on your numbering system. So we've all the way to day 14. You do not have to have watched the rest of this series if you just want to learn the tricks that we're going to do today. So we're using this paper collection, which is absolutely fun, from Graphic 45. And I first want to look at this paper. So we're going to make one of our pages, but we're going to be using these 3 scraps, which are 2 inches wide each. So what I've done, I went ahead and cut out a 4x6, but this is going to be the top of my page. So you can see we've been trimming off a 1/4 inch for the top. So what I'm doing this time is I went ahead and made this 5 3/4. I'm just going to lay this here, and I am going to do this. I'm going to just glue them right on there with a permanent glue stick. I'm using the Oohoo glue stick. And if you have an older glue stick, you'll find and you get chunky glue instead of nice smooth glue, you might want to consider using a scraper tool or something like this, a palette knife, to scrape off the excess and smooth that out. I really like this one a lot, and since I took a 1/4 inch off, this is going to get shortened. I'm going to shorten this one instead. So this one is 2. I'm going to make it 1 3/4. And the reason I'm adhering this onto this is just text weight paper I'm using, by the way. And I'm doing that so that I'll have a nice smooth back side to it. Perfect. Butting that up all the way against there. And now for the final piece. Okay, now we have our Frankenpaper. Let's get that off of there. And all you have to do is trim off the excess. Now we probably have a little bit of glue excess on the backs here and there, so I'm going to flip these over, let those dry off. Wonderful. And so now what we have, it is a little floppy just because it's on text weight paper. I didn't want to add too much bulk, but you could always do this onto cardstock. I am going to give it a little bit of a thumb notch there. Yeah, I kind of have to do it this way because I've got words here. I have to make sure that those are straight up and down. And we're going to get these 2 corners here rounded. But now we need to put this on a backing. And so when I started this conversation, I was showing you these. Now this is kind of getting lost here, but if I flip that over, now you have that striking pattern there. It's very, very nice. Okay, and we are going to glue this on there as a pocket. One thing I didn't look at. Okay, that looks okay. The writing on this is very forgiving, so when I flip this up to be my next day, that'll be okay. Speaking of flipping up, I am going to go ahead and put my book rings on because we're getting a little floppy here. Now, these are huge. They are very big, and they are about a 1.5 or 2 inch book ring. I know that I probably don't need anything that large, but the reason I'm going with that is it's going to expand as we go. It's going to expand as we go. And also, as I fill in my memories for the year, it's also going to expand. And most likely, I will be cutting up Christmas cards and putting them inside as well. So I think I want the really, really big one. But I will still look in my book rings and try to find something a little smaller. Okay, so we have this. So now if you notice this, we've got day 14. So we need 15 and 16 for this. I would prefer a red or a white since I already have that there, red and green. And this is part of the downloads that I have provided for you. You print these off on whatever color of cardstock you want. I think we need green for the 16. Okay, so as we said, I'm just looking right about where that's going to go. I'm going to glue the top of the 15 and glue this on the other side. And now we have 2 days that we can embellish. Another thing you can do is if you don't want to embellish these ahead of time, is to do that as part of your crafting. Make the basic or the skeleton of this in making the pockets and putting the dates on. And then on that day, you can put your embellishments on there. That's another way to make this work for you. I'm going to use this piece right here, but I'm going to add to it. I just printed off a lot of words on my laptop, and I'm using them to add focal points. Now I have this acrylic block on there, but you can see I can still go through and figure out all of my layers here. But this is really blah, not liking it at all. But I'm looking at my scraps, and that looks a lot better. This is what we just trimmed off that paper. I think this is a little excessive here. I'm going to add this. Okay, now we're going to pull this up. And this helps to create a barrier that kind of lifts this up in my thinking, but I'm thinking I'm going to move this over. There you go. So now we have day 15. That fits right in there. You know what I didn't do is I didn't punch my holes. I should always get those punched early because that helps me decide where to put my embellishments. I was very bad. Now when I flip this up, I've got day 16 and the possibilities are endless with this one. I love how this looks. I have a lot of these busy looking pieces here that I think might, look really good. It's still getting lost when you have a busy pattern. When I put something against a busy pattern, I tend to look at something with a border around it like that because I just think it doesn't get lost that way. These were part of the cut-aparts that were in there, and I think you could see that so much better, but it still needs help. So let's give this some help, shall we? Okay, here's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to go ahead and cut this up to be my, how I normally do. I'm going to cut it at 6, like I said. Then I have that, and then cut the 2 4s. Now I have 2 cards protected that I haven't chopped into, but on this, I'm going to cut it into a 6. This would be a good matting for something. I'm going to cut 3/4 of an inch, and this is why I'm doing this. See how I've just created this mat, only I'm turning it over and doing this. And this might be a little excessive. Let's see. That made a good belly band. And now everything looks separated and popped up, and it's just fine. Now, this is actually going to be a belly band. So I'm going to glue this onto here. All right. And then I'm going to glue this. I'm hoping I'm getting that straight, but I am not looking straight down at it. So, and now all we need to do is glue the 2 sides And now we have days 15 and 16. So let's add that. I love the ribbon there. Isn't that perfect? Now we're going to, for our next one, we're going to add a little bit of journaling place in here, a little more than usual. So we need a foundational card, and I'm collecting all the ones that I've pre-cut. Let's go with, this is so cute. I think I'm going to put that on the front. Let's do this. This will be on the front, but what we're going to do is we're going to put journaling cards inside. Now you notice this is not cut properly. I didn't do my usual cutting methods, so I need to trim this down to 4 inches, and I can use this for something else. And oops, and this needs to be 5 3/4. I am not putting my thumb notch on there for a reason this time. This is going to go this way. So we can go ahead and round. We don't need the 2 right corners rounded. There we go, just like that. And now for the journaling cards. So what I did was I created this, which is 5 3/4 by 4 inches. And those are going to be our journaling cards. Let's make sure that printed properly. I can see that I think I want to soften this outer line there before I give you that. So what I need to do though, in order for this to work, I need to round these 2. I'm going to score across the top. I'm just going to get out my itty bitty scoreboard this time, and I want to score these across the top. This too, got to focus on what's the top. I need to score down 5/8 inch. So if I put it this way, I need to go 5/8 inch since I got 4. So I'm going to go to 4 1/2 and then 1 more line over that. But you know what? I want this to bend the other way. So when I'm going this way, it is actually going to be between 3 1/4 and 3 1/2. Right between those 2. And now what I have is it's going to, when I bend them, they're going to bend the right way because mountains become valleys. Underneath this video, I'm going to give you my video on all about scoring. So what we should do though is go ahead and glue these tops. They are going to get hole punched, but I still want this all to work nicely together. Okay, now here's what we have. We're going to have the holes punched, and then these are going to flip up. So let's go ahead and glue. Okay, so what we're gluing is this part here, and putting that down. All of these top parts, the individual pieces, let's call it page 1 and page 2 and a cover. Those 3 things are glued together at the top, but then the set is glued across top, left, and bottom. Now what we have is a journal spot and another journal spot, and then this here is the pocket. So we still have our pocket. Absolutely adorable. I want 16, my number 16 to be white if I can. So what I'm going to do is come in here. I'm going to cheat and use a square one and just try to center that. And we need a 17, which would also be great to be white. Okay. Alrighty. I want to get this down. You know what? I think it's going to go on top. I just need that on top. Which means that this one is going to, this is going to be a little different. In order for us to see it, that's what's going to have to happen. Okay. Normally they are glued together, but this time they're not because this needs to open up. So we've got that journaling spot, this journaling spot, and we have this. Let's go ahead and get those punched. Oh, this is the other thing. I really loved this last time and I didn't get to use it. So let's use that. Okay, I am so glad because I like this a lot. And one of the things I could do is even lift it over to the right like this. So it gives me a way of lifting this up. I think that would be really cute. I think I might do this. Just trim that down a little bit. Remember not to glue that one side because we're going to hang this off over, over the edge, so we don't want to get too much glue right there. Clearing the rings. This is why we get those holes punched, so that we don't have that interfering. And you notice one of the things reason I put it there is I tend to load all of my embellishments and ephemera on the left-hand side. What that does is creates bulk all in the same spot of your project. Want to get these little candy canes in there. This is all part of the ephemera, which are super fun pieces. There we go. And now we have to do our back. What are we going to do here? Okay, here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to put this here as a side-loading pocket. It's just ever so slightly too long because it needs to be 4. And it's just a pinch too long. There you go. Kind of lost some of the stamp look, and then I'm going to have to repunch my holes. But again, I think, and if I would just do this, then I would remember that that's a little pocket. So I'm going to move it in just a pinch so I don't have to round the corners. But we need to punch those again. So let's get that punch just to get that one hole done, and we are good. So if I flip this up, now I can see that I can put embellishments in there, right in that pocket there. I'm going to use the multi-grip, and I'm going to run a thin bead of glue right along there. I'm going to hang it off the end just a little bit to enable me to trim that how I want it. Oh, that really perked it up. That little bit of sparkle made all the difference. Okay, now I'm going to come in here. Remember, these corners had been rounded, so we need to give that a little extra. There we go. And it's still open. Make sure it still opens. Here I realized that I had 2 number 16s and I corrected it, but I didn't realize the full extent of having 2 13s, so I will correct it before the next video. Okay, let's pull that together. You know what would be cute? It would be a little teeny paper clip just to put those 2 together. Would be really fun. So now we have up to day 18. Notice how that is getting chunky. It's looking very fun, and there are some interactive elements in here, and we have this fun little pocket right there. That's fun. This just says deck the halls a little sparkle. You know what? I like that. And I am going to take advantage of that. I just need a little bit of a trim here because it's a little too long. And let's do this. I just think when corners are rounded, it looks more polished, and it helps to give the helps the card to slide in and out really easily. See, there we have it. Okay, look at the links down below underneath this video for the entire playlist and your supplies, including this wonderful paper collection in my shop. Thank you for watching.